Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. Good evening. It is time for our show that we like to call the MoreJoy Media presents. Well, we've been calling it the Food and Beverage and Events Show, but maybe we'll start calling it the Small Business Bazaar Show. Y'all think about that, and we'll get started here momentarily. Hey, everybody. Good evening. It is the 7 o'clock witching hour, and we've got the lovely Lisa Marie. Hi. We've got the superstar ramrod, Billy Riley. And
hi,
myself,
Billy.
Hey, Lisa. Welcome back.
Lisa, how are you?
Doing great. How are you?
How was the beach?
It was awesome. It was beautiful.
Cool. All right. Now we can say you were in Nag's Head. we can tell everybody you were there.
Let me tell you something. You're an idiot. You know what? I was like, what is he doing? I mean, it's like, hey, don't tell anybody where I'm at.
I said Solomon's Island. I was mistaken. And she was actually in Solomon's Island.
Dude, do you understand?
I do now. Yes, I understand, Billy. We have a superstar on our hands, and so there's lots of stalkers out there.
And the drive from Solomon's Island to Nag's Head is stalkerish. That can happen. So, I mean, you can't talk about any of it.
Yeah, that's true. I know.
Oh, my God.
So, sorry, Lisa. I hope no one... Well, I know one was
fine.
In proximity.
Yeah,
but,
okay.
So, Billy...
Right on.
What have you been up to, man?
Man, I'm
telling you.
You have a
good day today?
Yeah, I had a really good day today. We had, as you know, the MoreJoy programming and business structure is coming along. The blaster's about halfway up my freaking anus with stuff. So he's killing us with the giant business plan. Look how big your head's getting. It's about to explode. So we got big stuff. We've got big stuff. We've got big stuff coming. Everybody's got a big role, and there's stuff coming along. You know, our Monday night show.
Everything is coming along.
Our Monday night show. Our Monday night show goes national next week. So, the topics we're covering and the people we're getting on here are growing. It's going to be really good. And our Wednesday night show is starting to grab legs, and we're going to, we're zeroing in on the focus. So it's an exciting time.
Indeed,
I like your shirt, Billy.
Thank you, dear. I'm kind of blended into the background. So
you are
camouflage.
That's right. I'm starting to get hip to these bugs.
All I can see is that mustache, that big old mustache hanging out.
That's right, baby. That would be called the 2020 porn stash style, because that's not ever going away, baby. That's
never.
Porn stash.
No.
Yes, sir. Lisa Marie can tell you all about that.
I don't know anything. I don't know anything.
Anything about that.
It's a porn stash, baby. It's a Tom Selleck, Sam Elliott special, baby.
Well, one of our guests said that Lisa was the yin to your yang, and Lisa, I think, had a bucket handy. They had to go, what?
I don't think so, baby. We have there's a good rapport going. We got a strong team. We've got, the right kind of people coming on board. The blaster's going to put it all together. The lawyers will handle the rest. And then we're off and running because we're not looking back. I mean, there's really good things coming down the pipe. I'm excited about the opportunities. We're way ahead of the curve. And, as long as we can, stay focused on what we're doing and get the right people on, we're going to be fine.
Yeah. What's the latest with the bars downtown in Fairfax?
So just in Fairfax City, status quo. Everybody still doesn't know what's going on. Everybody's still closing around 8, 9, 10. There's not a whole lot of inside traffic, but that's happening in a lot of places. To go, food is still the thing. There's still a lot of charity work being done for a lot of places and a lot of people out there. Everybody's trying to staff back up. Unemployment is running out. The Congress is being called back in to try to get some kind of new restaurant referendum out there to help these 30 million people that are jobless. And the structure is, Smokey will talk a lot about that tonight, about the new norm, because, our first guest tonight, I mean, Legendary doesn't cover it. I mean, you can wrap the Wolfman, Greaseman, Smash, Surf all into one, and you've got a local Northern Virginia guy that travels to the beach, to the number one bar on the East Coast, the Starboard Restaurant, to perform for millions all summer. The running of the bulls, the excitement, all the things. He's had his pulse on entertainment for 30 years. I mean, he's a legend. So he can kind of tell you, what the summer people are doing when they go to the beach to try to figure it out. And it's a mess. It's still a mess. It's going to be a mess for a long time. I think the entire year is going to be a mess. Right. I don't see anybody opening up. I mean, they just sent kids back to school with the word we don't talk about, and North Carolina is already shut down. North Carolina University, 130 cases this week. So, it's unfortunate, but the bars and the restaurants are taking the brunt of it because they are gathering places, and it affects everyone. Everyone's being affected. So, I mean, I'm on the front line of that, and my business is completely affected. Thank God I have really great clients, and I'm going to pivot into a new direction starting tomorrow. I'm all excited. Got my teeth ready to go. It's ready to roll. I'm excited. So new job starts tomorrow, and I'm thrilled about it. But I know where my nights are going to be spent. Still trying to get these people engaged in some things, and everybody's got to throw stuff at the fan until it sticks. That's it.
Right. Well, what do you say we bring on our first guest? What do you think of that, Billy? You think it's a good idea?
Ladies and gentlemen, Lyndon Smokey Lansdowne. Let's do it. Boom.
Oh, hey, there we go.
Boom.
How's it going, everybody?
Smokey. How you doing?
There he is.
Look at that. Listen to that. Listen to that voice, huh?
That's right.
That's the DJ voice right there.
That's right.
Here's the battle going on. Bailey versus Boom Boom versus Smokey. We'll do the DJ Superstar voice.
Try to get a little deeper with my voice there.
How are you, Smokey? Nah. You're good. You'll kill me.
No, that's great.
I'll try to go low too.
So, Billy, good to see you wound up as always.
Man, I'll tell you, that doesn't change. That gear does not change, Smoke. I'll tell you, I am so excited to have you on here. You are the face of summer entertainment. You have been. It's now you're into second, sometimes third generations of families that are going to see you. Hey, my pop used to come see me. And you're like, hey, you look great. Bend over. I got the paddle for you too. First it was your mom. First it was your grandma in the 80s. Now it's your mom in the late 90s. Now it's you. Bend over and let me whack you a couple times. I
Now,
love
for
it.
people that have no idea what you're talking about, that just sounds really weird.
It does.
Yeah,
It
yeah, he
does.
likes
Well,
to do
you
that.
go ahead.
Yeah.
You go,
I can see Lisa's eyes just going, what?
Yeah, what is this about? What's
If
going
you-
on here?
Smokey will get to it. You just do your thing. Give us your history, my brother.
Yes.
All right. Well, for those who don't know, I've been a DJ in the Washington, D.C. area for over 30 years, which means I've known Billy for over 30 years, so don't hold that against me.
I'm sorry.
It's been trying, but I've made it through, so
I
that
will.
works out really well. DJed all around the Washington, D.C. area, and I also DJ at the Starboard in Dewey Beach, which I've done now for, I think it's my 22nd or 23rd summer. So,
Wow.
yeah,
Seen
time
it all.
flies when you're having fun. There's
Give
no
us-
doubt about it.
Give me
And
give us some of those great Arlington locations.
well, let's see. I do the Craft House in Reston, the Arlington Rooftop right there in Arlington. Then I bounce around. I do like I always say I go to the highest bidder. So I've done Blackfin. Of course, now where I started was
Yeah,
back
give us
in
some history.
back in the late '80s. First bar I ever worked at was the Bottom Line Saloon in DC, and with Dick Heidenberger and that group. And actually, it was a great time. I got to go back after not being there for over 10 years back in February because this softball league that used to play there all the time wanted me to do their reunion party. And it was like a great reunion to go back to the Bottom Line, see some old friends, have a good time, and get about as drunk as I used to get. So it was pretty good.
Always important. Those are the important things.
I mean, when someone told me that I could play music I like and drink, what could beat that?
It's
Yeah.
not
Nothing.
a better job on the planet.
And meet women. So that's also really good because I have no pickup line. My entire pickup line is, "Hi, I'm Smokey the DJ," and that's it. And it's
That's all
worked
you
for
need.
30 years. So, that's great.
Wait a minute. Every DJ's pickup line is, "Can I play a song for you?" Right?
No, I never did that. I'll play a song for you because some people have really bad taste in music. I didn't want that to affect my night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good choice.
Oh,
If people
wait a
don't-
minute. I don't mind
people
telling
don't-
them, "Oh, not that one."
Don't have that one with me. No.
What people don't understand
Yeah,
is
sorry, I
it's
didn't
his
bring that one
job.
along.
It's his job to keep the movement going, the flow, the dance floor active. It's his
he
job
telling?
to do that. And somebody comes up and says, "Hey, Smokey, hey, play, The Last Dance, or play, something that doesn't jive." He's got to shut him down.
Yeah.
No. The answer to that is, okay, I'll get to it. Yeah, right. That
That's
doesn't
where I got
happen.
lucky is, my girlfriend has never asked me for a song, so I've never had to turn to her and go, "No way that's happening." So that might start a whole nother fight.
Yeah, exactly. No, I got you.
No, that works out fine. It's like, whoo, she's never asked for a request. We're good. Yeah, now that she probably hears this, now she's going to ask for requests going, "Play my song." So,
She's the best. She's the best, by the way. She's
she's way too good for me.
Absolutely.
No doubt about
I'll
it.
concur with that. She's amazing.
And I think all my friends will agree with you on that one. Like, oh yeah, way out of your league. So
Well, I'll tell you. So, Smokey, during the time that the DJ is become a profession for you, and I mean weddings, and I mean it's your top 5. On the thousands of DJs I know, you're top 5. And tell us what else you have going on during the COVID age where entertainment's been kind of slow. What else are you doing yourself?
Well, I actually became an insurance salesman. So I do insurance for Allstate Insurance and, mostly handling commercial insurance, which unfortunately when COVID hit, it was like no DJ gigs, no commercial insurance accounts because they were all gone. So it was a real slow few months, but things are turning around, bouncing back. And, so I'm looking forward to that pushing more. It's funny because I meet people now as like an insurance guy and I want to say, "Hi, I'm Smokey," because I've said that for so long. And I'm like, ooh, that might not jive so well. So let me use the real name for them. But
Right.
it's as much adjustment. Someone looks at me and they think I don't know my name because I'm like, "Hi, I'm the God, what is it again? Yeah, Linden.
And I find that entertaining too, as I run into people. As you know, we have a mutual friend that you guys sit on the same networking group with. And the first time I met her, she's like, yeah, hey, my friend Lyndon Lansdowne's on there. That immediately signals me that she knows nothing about your other life. So I'm like, I go right into my, what a great insurance guy. The dude's awesome, really level-headed. I mean,
Yeah.
and I turn around and I'm like, got it. Woo!
I think she believes it's true. This is great.
Right. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's the thing. They don't know most of the stories about me, so that's like,
you know, there's nothing wrong with that, dude. You have you've excelled on both levels, and what a great pleasure it is to get down to Dewey and get in there and have you screaming and yelling at people, and everybody that you run into that goes to Dewey, Lisa, or is anywhere down there for any function. He's the guy, and I love it. I mean, I love that I was been a part of that entire ride, and I love that the people that meet him, he's indelible. It doesn't change. What a great
Smokey,
story.
how'd you get started with doing DJ?
Well, years ago, I was thinking about getting a real job, and I was sitting in an office going, well, this sucks. So I started working, trying to get on the radio, and did a few stations. While I was doing the small stations and working in radio, I realized how much I liked actually seeing the people in front of me and doing the bar. And I started working in the bar. I started at the bottom line, and I went through, did Rumors downtown, so many different places all in the area. I don't want to start naming them, because if I forget some, then I'll get a call from somebody going, "You didn't mention my bar." So
yes, you will.
Yeah.
And just I realize how much of an enjoyment I have when you can see the people reacting to it. If they're having a good time. You see them, sometimes they're not dancing, but they're tapping their toes and they're bopping and singing along to the songs, and that means a lot to you. It's like, okay, they're into it, they're having a good time. Seeing the people that have hooked up because they were dancing to my music, I'm thinking, hey, I'm probably responsible for half the kids in DC.
Yeah. Personally.
And Billy's responsible for the other half.
Yeah.
Hey, watch it.
Hey, he's a
I'll tell you-
bartender. So.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
Before Tinder, there was Billy and Smokey. We were live tendering for people.
Oh my God. I get those calls all the time. And what I like about that part of my journey is I get calls from people now that went on to, doctors, lawyers. They went on, they have these fabulous lives, or not fabulous. But it's always come back to, dude, that was the best summer of my life. Or thank you so much for, just always calling me out or saying nice things about me or recognizing me. People don't understand that we do that. It's just inherent for things we do, Lisa, Lee, when we do that. And we don't really understand that one guy that went about his life, and he had life and kids, and now he's either married, maybe still, or looking for a second journey. And you know what? There was a time in his life where he was one of the dudes and motherfuckers we call that audience. Dude, what is up, my brother? And you know what? That guy had instant credence. I mean, the guy had instant status. And they're like, dude, the DJ? I'm like, yeah, what do you want to hear? I mean, what is it? Do you want to hear? What's going to get that 3.5 minutes that's going to get you riding home with me? And then I'd walk up, drop a 20 in a GM, and my song was coming on next. End of story.
Yeah. Well, Billy, you were talking about going with something like the third generation and things. And I can think about some of the people where I was DJing when they met the person they ended up being married to. Right. And then all of a sudden their kids are coming in to the bar where I'm DJing it now, and they're like, oh yeah, they're legal to drink now. And I'm like, whoa, what the heck? It's like, I remember when your mom and dad hooked up. I mean, fell in love. And
hooked up, yeah. Yeah.
I was there when you were conceived.
Yeah.
Which is a really good chance that that occurred.
Yeah.
I mean, a
There
really
were
good
some
chance
chances,
that occurred.
definitely.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
I can tell you that.
Well,
Go ahead. Go ahead, Smoke.
No, I was gonna say to Smokey, having done weddings and stuff myself, I love the fact that people are out there and I'm guiding them through what they're doing. And like, especially my favorite thing to do is be the first person to call Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so. I'm when they come into the reception, I get to be the first guy that ever calls them Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so. That's always super kick-ass.
I tell you what, I always love when I'm doing a wedding and it's from someone who says, we want you to do our wedding because you were the DJ when we met. And it's just so like pull it all together. It's like, hey, they met, they had a great time. They want me to DJ their wedding, to be a part of it. And then you see them, like I said, 20 some years later, and they're still together. They've got kids. You meet their kids. I keep telling people it makes me feel like I'm their crazy uncle. I love on Facebook when it's in school and I see the kids from the people whose weddings I've done, like going to school. I'm like, I'm watching them from afar grow up. And it's just a great thing to have happen.
And Facebook and Instagram has tripled that for you. And you're very active on there socially, and we follow all of your back and forth and your needs, and it's an amazing part of the journey. My favorite part now is when I have people and they'll come up to me and go, dude, about the weekend of Thanksgiving, dude, no stories about this. Hey, you don't remember me from that one time. and I'm like, dude, drop some cash. I'll forget instantly.
Let's say this. I have a great memory, but I know what not to say.
That's exactly right.
That's right. But I can forget about it really quick.
You know what? Andrew Jackson has a certain amount of memory that helps me forget. And, but Benjamin, let's just talk about how much I can forget with a Benjamin.
I don't even know you. What do you mean? Remember? Tell about that story. I don't even know who you are.
But see, you keep saying it like you're talking from the guy's standpoint. Oh no. Women have a lot of things they want me to forget too.
That's right. I'll tell you. And because
I can see Lisa's got that thought going like, ooh.
That's right. See,
I'm thinking,
Lisa,
there might be a couple of things. I don't know.
All right. And you know what? That's all part of the mix. But I think you hit the nail on the head the most, Smokey, that you are an indelible part of the fabric, the history, and what we're about in this Northern Virginia show and what we're discussing. And you're as petrified as I am, because I'm watching people like Dick Heidenberg and his two sons bust their ass to try to make sure that they're maintaining the empire. I watch Monty close down a $700,000 month, $1 million month to make sure that everybody in the city gets tested. I watch everybody pivot, but I panic for the smaller guys, the littler dudes that you might do one night there. Scott Porter at Arlington Rooftop. I panic for him. I mean, he's survived so many other natural disasters that this is just another one. So that's what we do. That's what Lisa and Lee and I, we're getting everybody on here wants to talk about their business, part of the business. And there is no doubt that when I travel the country and when I go places and somebody mentions Northern Virginia, DJs or Dewey Beach, it's you. And it's always you. And, I'm honored. I'm honored for that.
I thank you for that. But I will say, like you feel, I feel for all these the small guys, but even the big ones, because the big ones are employing a lot of people. And you think about, okay, when they're not getting the business in, they've got to cut back on their staff. Yeah. And you cut back on your staff. I mean, I look at it around at the Starboard right now, and we're not using as many bartenders as we usually use. we would have shooter people walking around at night with trays of shots they were selling, and that was actually a great time for those people to work their way up doing the shots.
Sure.
All of a sudden becoming a bartender and getting the big spots, and they're missing out, and that's like a year they're not going to get a chance to do that,
Right.
and that slows them up because that's the one good thing you're talking about, like Dick Heidenberger and of course Monty. Those guys are really good about taking the staff and moving them along. And so you see somebody who one day is your bar back, but then he's going to be moving up and he's going to bartend. There's going to be the guy who is or the lady who is running shots, but then she's going to get the bartending shifts. And they're missing a year of basically training. And that slows you up a lot, and that really does affect things.
And you know what? I mean, I think that we all sit here, and I think that we think that after all the 80s, 90s, and the 30-year run that you had on that, and it always grew and grew, and you watched places expand and grow. You watch some close, you watch some come and go, but the gist is always there. Now it's unknown. This is an unknown. This year is over. It's over.
Not something that they were controlling. I think about the places where people were trying to expand, so they did like improvements on their places or bought a second location. And you buy a second location thinking this is great. I'll be able to have this up and running, and starting in March or April, and you're shut down.
Right.
And all of a sudden it's like that place never gets footing, and you got to get paid.
And you have your folks out there that we're so used to it. I mean, that's just it's in my blood. It's what I do 7 nights a week. Dating or not dating, married or not married. I was out. I was in the clubs. I was in the bar. That's my business. How do I stay on top of the business? How do I stay on top of the cutting edge? How do I stay relevant? And now when I'm out doing it, it's Billy, what's next for me? And I'm like, you just got to get creative. We've got to figure out, how do we enhance the to-go? How do we enhance this? How do we keep your name out there? How do we make sure that it stays relevant, because 2020 is gone?
That's the one thing I was saying. I love the fact that some of these places are getting creative, and also some of the towns are helping out by doing things like having the outdoor seating is huge. We have it in a lot of the places in Dewey Beach, and I think it really adds to that. If you can put it out there and not use your parking lot, but use it for outdoor seating, so that you can have the people out there, because one, they're going to feel safer outside than they do inside. They see it, as they're walking down the street, they can see it and visualize it. Hey, this place is open. Let's go in. But it also gives it a nice beachy feel. If you're at a beach bar and you're outside, that just works so much better than being at a beach bar inside. So I think that's helping, and that's one of those creative things that I hope will continue after this. They were doing to-go alcohol. I hope they continue to do the to-go cocktails. I think that is a great thing.
Right.
You come in and a meal, and okay, well, here I'm getting this meal to go. Yeah, why don't I get a couple of margaritas to go? Great, down to the starboard, you got orange crushes to go. I mean, that's been a big help. It's not going to get us back to where we were, but it cuts into the amount of loss that we had.
Right.
It's
everybody's pivoting. Everybody is throwing what they can against the wall and doing what they're doing. And you're so right. My youngest son is in the business, and he's a bar back. He's lugging stuff. He's mopping floors. And I don't know if that's going to be his complete follow-up. He's with the Cordero group, and I couldn't be happier. He's at prime time, and he loves it. And he's 16 with the vision. So, am I going to steer him somewhere else? I don't know. I want him to get his degree and finish up, but I'll tell you what, I wouldn't change anything in my direction, or I wouldn't change any part of it. I just want these people to be successful. They're my family. You're my family. I want you to do well, and you're just you are the top of the ladder, bro.
I'll tell you what, I'm happy that you have your son starting off at the bottom and working his way up.
Just like
too many people want to start at the top.
Yeah, just like I did, dude.
And it's no, you got to work. You got to grind.
I mop floors. I mop floors. I picked up
I tell people I started at the bottom line. Yeah, I started at the bottom line. My first gig was there, but then I went like months of working in little bars where there was like 4 people in there until I got back up to doing in the middle of DC and doing all that. I get like now I can go into any place I really want to, but that's from years and years of building up.
Sure.
I don't want to get shortchanged on time because I really want to explain the paddle to Lisa.
Go ahead,
because
please. You're good.
I know we were talking about a bunch of other
I'm
stories.
still wondering about that.
Yeah, and I know you got Brian coming up, so I want to make sure I get this out. So when I first started down at the Starboard in Dewey Beach, the guy, John Hardy, legendary DJ down there, he had a bunch of paddles, and they were like, just for like thanking people for different things, just to have fun and something stupid. Somehow I started like doing it more, and people started taking pictures, and it got to where everyone just associated me with the paddle.
Now show us the look. I want to show. You may not have a paddle in your hands, but show us the look. It's in a million pictures.
Okay, so we do the thing called the spank face. So
right.
That's when I have the person step in the picture. I'm going to do the spank, and there's like. And I tell you, the reason I do that crazy face is because I want everybody that looks at that picture later to know this was just having fun. This isn't anything like, oh, I'm trying to make the girl. So, like, yeah, if a husband sees it later, he's cracking up. In fact, the number of times people have bought in their like girlfriends to go, hey, it's my girlfriend's birthday. Can you give her a birthday
spank face, right?
Or I give for the bachelorette parties. Or we also do it for like your first time in Dewey, so we initiate you into Dewey. And so this goes on. I will tell you my favorite one. It was a lady who was having her 80th birthday, and her daughter and her dad bought her. I mean, her daughter and her husband came over to me. Bought this lady, sweetheart of a lady, 80 years old, and I got a picture of me giving her this smoky spank. So
you spanked an 80-year-old woman?
80-year-old woman. It was
you did
so
that
funny.
on a T-shirt.
A couple weeks after that, she comes up to me and she goes, hi, do you remember me? And I'm like, how do you forget that I spanked an 80-year-old lady? Of course I remember you. Without a doubt.
Gee, no, I spank 80-year-old women 5-6 times a day.
Now, it was a little weird when I had to, like, talk to my girlfriend's mom and explain why I had she's like, what's with all that paddling? I'm okay. But which is funny because my mom saw the pictures and doesn't think anything of it because she's known my crazy DJ hand
she knows her son.
Yeah, but like, my girlfriend's mom was just like, okay. So your first time you come to Dewey, you come into the DJ booth and I'll give you a smoky spank.
All right, I can't wait.
I am definitely bringing you there for that. I am telling you we're going. We're going to go there for a couple
I
days.
want pictures of that one.
Oh, my goodness.
I tell you what.
It's world famous.
It's weird. It's not. Dewey isn't Dewey like it usually is this year, but we're still having as much fun as we could possibly have with it. And with that smoky spank, there was a person there yesterday, a guy having his birthday, and he was not having fun. He was not going to do anything. He just wanted to keep it nice and quiet. One of the bartenders told me about it. So I usually I don't come out of the booth with the paddle, but I came out of the booth with all his friends around and spanked him in front of the entire bar and with our mask on. So, just so everyone knows we're safe. But yeah, it's just all about having fun. And
you should have brought pictures of that. I would love to see the picture of that in action,
Oh my god.
I should have had the pictures of that. I'll make sure I sent you a couple. I'll send you the 80-year-old lady.
Send me the one with the 80-year-old lady. I gotta see that.
I think that it's time for Smokey for you to launch the Smokey Spank page on Facebook. And I would put every picture and Instagram, every picture that's the spank face up there.
Well, here's the thing. I started doing the on Instagram. I would do the hashtag Smokey Spank, but on Instagram, you get some people that were like checking it out because they saw spank, and I was getting some weird friend requests. And I'm just like, whoa, no.
That's a whole nother career field right there,
Yeah. It was like.
I have a question for you, Smokey. Have you ever had anybody give you a smoky spank?
Yes, I have. And it's funny. this friend of mine, he brings his wife to me every year for her birthday. I give her a spanking, and her birthday happens to be close to mine. So when my birthday came up, she came in and she gave me a spank. So I have that.
Nice.
And also, one of the bands down at the beach, Kristen and the Noise, the lead singer, Kristen gave me a spank. So I have been spanked twice. Actually,
Okay,
probably a couple
all right.
more times too, but that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
That's another show. It's another show.
It's another show. That's yeah. Maybe you can come on Wednesday with us.
Yeah.
That'll be it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just there's so many stories to go with that paddle. It's amazing. It started off as like a ping pong ball paddle. Now we actually have one that is it's like the sorority paddle.
A frat one. Yeah.
So we have that.
It's a fraternity paddle for sure.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
So it's like you're joining the fraternity when you take that one. So that is definitely one of the things.
I mean,
that's the thing. There, it started just as a little joke. I knew it was getting serious when there was a bachelorette party that came up to me and they had their little booklet of things they had to do. You know, like the bachelorette has to get this song played, or she has to do this dance, and one of the things in there was she must get spanked by Smokey in the DJ booth.
you finally made it when you're on the bachelorette list.
That's when I knew it was becoming popular.
Right. I'm sitting at a bar maybe a year or two ago. And it's a big group of us, and we're kind of kicking it around, doing that middle-aged man thing. And, we're still, gathering crowd. It's good time. And I hear the table next to me, and it's a bunch of young 20s and everything. And the girl and her boyfriend are talking. They're all doing this, and they're like, you know what? My mom used to talk about this dude. And I'm like, immediately, and we used to do this great thing in Dewey Beach. And I got my first Smoky spank, and I almost spit my drink out. I was like, oh my God, it is now reoccurring again with a whole nother. It's legendary. And I'm, again, just another piece of the journey that we're going to be talking about on this show. Honored to have you, Smoke.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, listen, and if anybody wants to get in touch with Smokey, Smokey the DJ on Facebook and SmokeyTheDJ.com, folks.
And don't forget to like the show.
Coming soon, the SmokeySpank.com.
Yes.
That's
That'll be it.
Gotta have to do it. And don't
we'll
forget
have to start that up. That'll be great.
And don't forget to like the show and share it so that this gets around. And we're really excited about the things we're doing. And Smokey, we're going to bring you back from time to time to let us know how the year ended up, and talk to us about how it's transforming, and what does next year look like.
Oh God, I'm hoping next year we double down on the party.
Right.
That's our key. Is we're gonna get through this. We're going to get through this. All of us together, we will get through this.
Right.
And when we get through it, 2021, we're going to party like it's 1999. That's how we're going to do it. It's just going to be tear it up the entire year, all love and happiness, and let's get through the year.
Right.
Amen.
Well,
that's right.
You're totally the man. You're legendary. I was honored to get you on the show. Only took me 3 months. And, I appreciate you keep dishing me off. Forget it, Riley. But I want to just say that, your wonderful, beautiful girlfriend, you and Beth, everybody in the process. It's been my pleasure to bring you to my two co-hosts.
And I'm happy to meet them both. That's great.
Yeah.
And
thanks for coming on the show.
We're excited about where we're headed with things, and you're always welcomed, and check in with us.
Oh well, heck, I'm going to stick around because I want to hear Brian talk next.
Good. And we'll bring you on. We'll bring you on at the end. We'll have everybody on at the end then. If you want to stick around, that'd be great.
That sounds
all
great.
right. Well, let's shift gears, everybody. Let's thank you, Smokey. I'm going to put you in the back, and you can take a listen to everything we're doing. I appreciate you. Listen, guys, it's time to shift gears a little bit because Brian's going to talk to us more about, what is the marketing trends in this age that we're in it's got to be a challenge. And so the next guest we have, go ahead, Billy, introduce this guy.
So Brian Bishop, I met in the mid to late 80s, working for a company. And Brian's going to talk about it because it's historic in Washington, D.C. marketing. He and his business partner arrangements with Steve Winter and Kenny Freed, and their legendary mentor, Charlie Brotman, who's got more history in Washington, D.C. sports marketing. He was the voice of the Senators. And I don't want to, I want Brian to talk about it, but Brian and I became very good friends. Brian's my mentor. He is our main source of marketing for us, for the Shamrock Solutions Group and the things we bring in. So without further ado, Sage Communications and Brian Bishop.
Hey guys, happy Monday. I am going to have a hard ass time following up on the spanking paddle. I mean, I was in a fraternity at Mason, and we'll get to a couple stories about that, Billy. But yeah, I'm the straight guy here. Holy shit, I'm in trouble. Billy's going to talk over me. Lisa's just going to laugh, and
I saw you giggling. Like, no one else can.
No.
I'm kidding.
Brian, no one else can see. I can see Smokey, for instance, right now. Nobody else can see Smokey. I can see him. I could see you just giggling, and I can see that look at your face.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. What the hell have I got myself into?
Yeah, I was enjoying Smokey, and I think he was just getting started, so I think he does need to return. And first of all, thanks for having me on, and congratulations. I know we're going to sort of talk about what's marketing here, and what you guys are doing is finding this forum to get out there, and you need to differentiate yourself, and you are. You do this show Monday, you do the Wednesday. I think the Wednesday one is really, Billy talking about dating is like, the whole other spectrum. Lisa's the cordial one here about, she's going through 10 dates before she gets intimate with the guy. And Lee's just up there going, what the hell am I doing here? So, but yeah, I want to say you guys are on to something, and it's fun to be here. I'll give you my thumbnail of where I came from and how I came to be. And as Billy mentioned, a couple things. I'm originally from Hershey, Pennsylvania. My dad worked for the chocolate company. So I wanted to get out of the sort of small town. I loved it there. My parents are still alive and around there. I was looking at colleges, and I discovered George Mason as this up-and-coming school. I didn't want to go a big city, but I didn't want to go small town where my dad went, my brother went. So I came to Mason, but of course, like, all kids, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I grew up playing soccer and basketball and sports and chasing girls and, all that good stuff. And I got to school, and I'm like, all right, I need to figure out what I want to do. So it took about 2 years. I read an article in Sports Illustrated about what a sports information director does. And for those that don't know, a sports information director does basically PR work for the university's athletic department. So you're promoting the basketball team, but as well as the lacrosse team and the volleyball. And so I thought, wow, that's cool. I don't know what I want to do, but I love sports. Like, half the guys out there are more, and I'd love to get involved. And this was right before it sort of has exploded into this monster sort of industry. Professional sports is come a huge way. Just look at the Redskins, and we can talk about that a little later. They were sort of, doing okay, and then the NFL just went out, went gangbusters with TV revenue and money, and my God, it's huge. So my junior year, I wrote to all the sports information directors around town and throughout the country and said, hey, how did you get your job? What do I need to do to get started? And there was a consensus that you need to work on your writing skills. You need to really be able to communicate effectively. You should get as much experience as possible. So I spent my last 2 years at Mason working in the sports information office. This is live radio. Is that your dog, Ray?
That's okay. I can mute everybody. It's not, Billy doesn't have a dog.
I think they heard the bird and the host. And the host is.
No, there was a dog. It wasn't my dog.
I think it's a dog that just walked behind me.
Oh, okay. Wasn't my dog. I don't have a dog.
And I'm frantically over here muting people and muting Billy, the dog's barking, the bird chimes in. I'm going, good God.
Boy, this is live radio, baby.
Yeah, Lee, you of course know you can't mute Billy. He would find a way around that somehow.
I know. He always does, unfortunately.
but anyways, back to my Mason. So I went to Mason and I worked in the sports information office. I graduated and then I thought, oh my God, I got to get a job. And this is the lesson learned that regardless of what industry you're in, it's working hard and persistence and being at the right place at the right time. And I had some background working in soccer at Mason. A company called Brotman Communications was looking for an entry level to work on the American Professional Soccer League, which was a fledgling soccer league, had like 7 teams, 3 in Canada and 4 in the States. And I got hired to be the account executive, which would be the entry level position there. And I worked my ass off for that year. I would work every weekend. I would take a fax machine home. You guys remember fax machines? I had to take a fax machine home every weekend, and I'd work the games. And some of the games are like 7 o'clock on the West Coast. So, but as Billy said, the Brotman of Brotman Communications was Charlie, who's absolutely an incredible human being, as well as a consummate professional. And as Billy said,
legend.
He worked every sports angle in town back in the day, and he started in radio, Lee. He was a broadcast major at the University of Maryland, and he became the PA announcer for the Senators, and that snowballed into everything.
Every presidential parade.
Oh yeah,
the announcer since Eisenhower.
That was so great since you guys saw the last few years. He tried to get to be the presidential announcer for I think the 12th or 13th in a row, and he got kicked aside by the current president, and then so he took that to a whole nother level, and he was the presidential announcer for the big marches, the Moms March, and he milked that to all it was great. It was just so Charlie, and he's 91 today. He is doing great. He's slowed down a little bit. He's at Leisure World in Silver Spring, but he still has a part-time job with another firm in DC and does some work. So, but I've been taken on this wonderful journey. This was my first real job where I'm at right now. It's pretty amazing. Back in the day, you guys remember a little company called AOL and some of those digital tech firms, and everybody jumped ship and thought, wow, this tech thing is great, and I'm getting stock options. But I've always said I've enjoyed what I do, and I enjoy who I work with, and those are 2 key things that make my life happy. I'm happily married with 3 kids, and it's just it's been a wonderful ride, and I'm happy to get into some crazy stories and good stories and bad stories. And my first year into working at the shop, we were working with the World Cup. This was 1994, and so the World Cup coming to the U.S., humongous, tremendous opportunity.
Huge, yeah.
And so we had our fingers in a couple things there. We were working with Hair Cuttery on a sponsorship promotion. We were also volunteering for the Washington, D.C. committee. We also had this professional soccer league going on simultaneously. And so we milked this for all it's worth. And there's this one story it's just typical of Steve and what he does and my nature too. We had our championship for the APSL out in Los Angeles. And it just so happened to be Los Angeles was also a site for the World Cup. Now, as volunteers in DC, we had special uniforms that were sort of, all the volunteers had similar uniforms, except your badge was different. So we, of course, went out to Los Angeles. We were going to promote our championship game. And, promoting the American Professional Soccer League versus the World Cup is sort of like an ant versus an elephant. But, that's not going to stop us. So we used our credentials to get into the Rose Bowl Media Center, and we're passing out flyers of our silly little championship game. We did a media game where the media plays against each other in a soccer game. And then afterwards, Steve's like, all right, well, let's go watch the game. I'm like, what? We don't have tickets. How are we going to get in? He's like, just follow me. So we walk up to the top where the press box is, There's only like security and officials there. There's no one in the stadium yet. It's like Brazil versus Sweden or something like that. And we just walk right out of the press box, walk into the stadium, and we're the only ones sitting in the stands. And I'm panicking to death, thinking we're going to get caught, we're going to get arrested, they're going to go throw us in jail. And Steve's like, "Oh, no, don't worry about it." We took off our uniforms and we watched the rest of the game there. So
Steve Winter, when I first started my journey in the early 90s with these guys, always said something to me that always mattered. Act like you belong.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
On my last contract, 2020, with the DC Defenders, I said, "Hey, I've got this badge, Steve, what am I doing?" He goes, "Billy." I said, "I got it. I'll act like I belong." So it never changes. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah. So that was my indoctrination to this great sports PR and entertainment firm. This was 1994, and I've worked on so many great events. Fight Night is certainly one that was the top charity event in town for the longest time. It was held at the Hilton on Connecticut Avenue where Reagan was shot, and it was such a political, everybody from politics and Hollywood would come to this thing. And what they did was
James Brown, Living in America.
Oh my God. They raised millions of dollars for children's charity because the founder was a gentleman named Joe Robert, who was a self-made millionaire living in McLean, but he grew up, working class kid in this area, and he was a boxer, and he had professional boxing at these things that was sort of secondary, but they would bring in these superstar legends from Joe Frazier and Ken Norton.
I have all the pictures. I loved it.
That's really shocking there. Billy would probably go up and just pictures of all of them.
Yeah, of course.
So that was a spectacular event, and that happened we did that about 20 straight years, and they had, as he said, James Brown was entertainment. And I remember Joan Jett one time, the ring announcer said, "All right, it's Joan Jett and the Heartbreakers," and she looks over at him like, "Oh my God, I'm going to kill you." Of course, it was. So yeah, that was. We met Billy during that time, and it was also during the time of the Bartenders Ball, which was the biggest party for the biggest partier in the world, the bar industry, and I think he was knee deep in that. And we, Steve and Kenny were, I think when they started out of school, 25 and 22, so they were in that whole downtown bar scene of DC. And
so every event BWF had or Charlie had, I would get the call, and I would get whatever beer company I was with or whatever brand, and we would all link up and do that. And then, we look up one day and it's 25, 30 years later, and I'm sitting at my desk in February going, "All right, what are we going to do about the contest and the bartender thing?" I'm talking to Lee about starting all this up and all of these different things. And I get a phone call going, "Billy, it's fine. XFL, new football league. Can you pass out some flyers for us?" I said, "We're on." I didn't even think about it. I said, "We're in. Let's go." And it was huge. I mean, unbelievable.
Yeah, it was a perfect storm getting to work back with Billy because, his expertise is obviously the bar business, restaurants and clubs and downtown and entertainment. And, we had been trying to hook up and work together for a while, and this was the perfect storm. And it was just, it was going so well. The DC Defenders had really taken a grip.
Number one out of the 18s. We were killing it.
Yeah, it was, everybody had fallen in love with it. The games were great at Audi Field. If you've been down there, it's an outstanding stadium for watching. They priced the tickets right, and Billy and his team did a spectacular job of getting the bar business really excited about it. And it was, our team. I mean, say what you will about the Redskins, but the fan base has soured tremendously, and now it's hey, this is our team.
That's right.
And and then that March 15th came, and we just were severed, like our artery was severed.
Yep.
Such a shame.
Unbelievable. I mean, it's across the board. But as Brian said, and what I'd like him to talk about in the last 10 minutes, is what we're doing, Lee and Lisa, is what's happening. This is the pivot. This is what this world-class organization, BWF, Brotman and Sage Communications. That's what they're pivoting to. These are the shows. These are the educational factors. These are the things that are happening. So my conversations with them a couple times a month are headed that way. And we're right on the pulse of what's going on. Brian.
Yeah, the virtual events. I mean, we even have a division within our shop. It's a 55 person shop. There's a division exclusively for virtual marketing, and while their focus is a little more government contracting, that's what we're trying to figure out within ours, because we were so deep into the publicity and the special events, and then we lost probably about 8 events. Some of them went virtual, thank goodness, like the Army 10 miler has transitioned from 35,000 people to they're going to have over 10,000 virtually, which is spectacular. And as I mentioned at the top, what you guys are doing here with webinars and podcasting, it's the wave of the future because it's so easy to execute.
Video.
Yeah. But then the big trick, and we can all appreciate this, is how to monetize it. We used that word 10 times with Billy in conversations, and it's I'll give you an example. We're working with the Museum of Science Fiction, which is a virtual museum that just started a couple years ago. And we've tried to put together a series of webcasts, and it's tricky. We only charged $5 at one point. There was a free session portion of it, and then if you wanted to stay on, they charged $5. And then the celebrity guests, if you wanted to do one-on-ones, they would charge more. And it's tough because everybody's doing this, and that's another thing I said a little earlier, is how do you differentiate? And I noted earlier that your dating game and having you guys sort of scream at each other and have different opinions, and because I don't want to hear the same old stuff. I want to hear, my brother's a producer in Hollywood for reality TV, and it's all about, you can't just be talking normal stuff like the regular guy. I would be horrible at a reality show because I'm just straight-laced white boy, bored, no issues. I'm happily married. They need crazy-ass people like someone in the square above me to the right. And that's why that's something like this works. And then
I get a phone call once every couple of weeks. What's up? Hey, what's going on with you? Let's grab some coffee. And an hour and a half later, I'm looking up and he's in tears and he's laughing at my freaking crumbling life.
No,
what's happening and what's going on and what happened with Lisa and I and where we were and all of it. And the reality is that's who I am. And that's where I'm at. And you know what? I wouldn't change any of it. But I look, and I'm so happy to have Brian and his beautiful wife. She's fabulous, and his kids, because I can go visit the basis of what I probably will never have. Lisa and I, you and I talk about that all the time. Yeah. It's just a journey. And
I'm not teasing you about your crumbling life. I'm teasing about the crazy ass shit you did 25 years ago I can't even repeat here because I don't know what people know and people don't know.
I know, but it's all good, and that's okay. And the crumble always seems to rebuild. It always seems to grow and come back and be a big part of things. And I wouldn't be Shamrock, Fastest Bartender, anything we do wouldn't be anywhere without BWF. And you guys always being a part of just a great balance and a work ethic. And we're honored to be a part of it. Always.
Well, as Smokey was saying a little earlier, and you said, Billy, 2020 is pretty much shot. It's dead in the water, but what are we going to do in 2021? And it's not going to go back to normal. It's absolutely going to be different. And that's why you have to adapt. Yep. You have to take stock of what you're doing, and it's professionally and personally, because things are going to be very different, and you've got to roll with the punches. And especially in the restaurant business, man, you got to be, like you said, creative. Like I look at a guy like Bill Hamrock and then Randy at Ornery, and they're like, man, they didn't stop. They're trying to be creative as all get out. They've laid people off. I'm sure. I know Randy's laid off a bunch.
Yes,
but he's chugging forward with 2 things, and he's not complaining. He's just you got to work harder than the next guy.
You got to keep grinding. That's the word you're looking for. Stay on the grind, and once you stay on the grind, and you get the to-go thing down to a T, and that's your basic thing, and then you get your outside working, and like Smokey said, and once you get all that going, you know what? You're at least maintaining. You're keeping the lights on. You're keeping your key staff taken care of, and then the rest is, what's next? And Brian, that's where we're at. We're all trying to figure out how we position for what's next.
The magic elixir, and it's not. I don't think it's a money thing. I think it's being creative and, gating your customers and going back and getting loyalty. Because I feel it. I live in Annandale, and I want to support these groups. And one of the things I've done in my sort of other hat I wear is I'm a president of a civic association, and we've had the Coyote Grill food truck out 5 or 6 times to our neighborhood, and I'm like, yeah, I want to do that for them because they're hurting. They've had to lay off a lot of staff, and people still need to eat, and they don't want to. If they don't want to go to restaurants, they feel more comfortable going to this food truck and picking it up. And people need to step up and really help these retailers and restaurant business, because they're not getting the big bailouts that the big companies are getting, and they're having to lay off people, and they got their rent they got to pay, even though they're not running full throttle. So it's tough out there, but you just gotta keep grinding at it and being creative, and like I said, like with you guys doing here, this is a great thing. Just keep getting Smokies of the world on and talking about Spanx, and you're doing a good job.
And
there he is.
There he is.
What's going on? All right.
You never left our hearts.
It's like you say my name a few times, I show up like Beetlejuice.
That's right.
And I think you were onto something there, Smokey, where you were talking about the municipalities have to change. Like, I think the city of Fairfax, as Billy knows, is one of those municipalities that's in a crossroads and really could go take a right or a left is going to determine whether they're going to be successful or not.
Yeah, but they're stuck right in the middle. They're stuck in the 1970s and 80s. But I'll tell you what's happening. There are some really big movers and shakers. We have a very implemented, brand new city council staff that comes in. We've got a very progressive EDA director with Chris Bruno. The downtown district has got Shannon Duffy Daniels, who's really getting the restaurants and the bars, and she's got a webpage, and everybody is pivoting to the best of their ability. But that doesn't mean that people are coming out. So you got to have a mainstay and a creative, and you just got to understand that this year has sailed. That 50% of people that are coming in your place, that's the standard.
Yeah, I think Fairfax City was on the right course with the events they were having in the downtown.
Oh my God,
they were there. Good
owners.
It's
all gone. Yeah, it's all gone.
They got to start from scratch.
You've got some really creative people like the DeMarcos, Michael and Joanne DeMarco, that are opening up a new live music venue. They're doing a live guide. They're selling 7 tables, 8 tables. That's all they can do. But every Friday and Saturday, they're rain or shine. They're putting a freaking guitar player out there. And you know what? You just got to do it. You got to stay on the pound and on the grind.
Yeah.
And they're pairing up with a beer company. So you know what? If it's 5 tables, you just sold 5 tables. It's $250, and your name is out there. It's all you got to do.
Well, it's the key. Is right now, everybody's got to try and be as creative as possible to get people out. But even with that, there are a lot of people who are just afraid to go out.
That's right.
The beach,
absolutely.
The beach you see is packed. There's a lot of people around, but the bars are slow right now because people don't really want to get in there and be around a bunch of different people. So it's a process that's going to take a while for people to feel comfortable coming out.
Hey,
but you got to keep that creative flow going.
And hey, Smoke, you know what? I watch TV just like you guys do. I watch all the major channels. And you know what? When the Surgeon General and this guy from the CDC comes out and says, hey, go ahead and go to Walmart, go ahead and go to church, make sure you go out and protest and do all that. But if you go into a bar, you're going to die. You know what? You're going to have problems. There's nothing else you can do. And you know what? We are a giant society of lemmings, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to listen and not go into bars because we're going to die. And unfortunately, that's the reality. They don't say don't go into toy shops, don't go into hardware stores. They say don't go into a restaurant, you will die.
Right.
And that's and you don't have a choice on that. You can't.
And it was back in the day when you go to some bars or restaurants, you may die from over drinking or doing other things.
Oh my God!
If you're gonna die, at least die, from an overdose of drinking 40 beers or something.
Right.
I think I built up an immunity being in the bars that I'm in that I won't die from any of this stuff.
That's right.
Hey, the bar business took its best shot at me, pal, and I'm still standing, bro.
You're
resuscitated.
Yeah.
We got to wrap it up, guys. We come to the end of the time for our show. Listen, I can't even tell you what an honor it was to have you, Smokey, on, you on, Brian. Brian, you better know that we're going to be talking to you, hopefully hooking MoreJoy up with you. And you know what, Smokey, man, I got spots on the radio station for some guys to spin some tracks. So whatever it takes, we'll definitely be in touch.
Never have a problem playing music and having a good time with it.
Amen, brother. No problem. I don't know how we can do the Smokey's Spank on the radio, but we can figure something out.
It's all about the scheduling. That's the key.
That's right.
I think that's a perfect. It's a perfect sound effect as a bumper here for coming in and out with guests. There's lots of possibilities.
We can spank them into the screen.
I think you might have to save that for Wednesday, though.
You guys on the MoreJoy Network, which I'm now a proud partner in as of today. Thank you, Lee. I couldn't be more honored to be, a VP of this. These guys are, and the people we're bringing on, and with the addition of Lisa Marie and with Smokey and Brian, these guys are my family. They're not just brothers in arms. They're not just creative guys. These guys are the one that when you go to the book and you pull it off the shelf and you dust it, these guys have their own chapters. It's amazing. And I'm honored. I'm honored.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, everybody. I appreciate it.
It was great to meet you both.
Great.
Yes, it was. All right. Thank you guys.
Just as I expected. Nice to meet you guys.
Well, good.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you very much, Brian.
We'll talk to all you guys soon.
Take care.
See you guys soon. Bye.
All right. Peace.